Hello and welcome to another beginner's guide video. I am Trainer Weaves and today we are going through our Pokebag again. So last week I talked about berries and evolution items. This time I'm going to go through everything else in the Pokebag. Over here we have our Pokebag, so I'll go through things one at a time. At the top you have potions. These unlock at level 5 and you get them from spinning Pokestops. Potions will restore the health of one Pokemon by 20 hit points. Great when you're level 5. Once you start getting competitive, they do basically no healing at all for any of your Pokemon you want. So, if you are running out of bag space, and you can see how much bag space you have at the top there, just throw them away. Potions are the first thing to throw away. You will get better ones later. Next up, we have super potions. These unlock at level 8. No, level 10. Again, healing item. They will heal for 50. There we go, Mr. Right On. A little bit better. Again, if your bag space is starting to get full, throw them away. They're okay. Like, maybe keep a few if you want to top stuff off, like this Charizard here. Boop. But it's not a big deal if you use a bigger potion. Further down, we have hyper potions. Now these unlock at, let me check my list, level 15, so still pretty low level. They are, these ones are good. These will heal 200 points. So my very top Pokemon has 155 hit points. That is just going to heal it from nothing. In one shot. Blissey, where's Blissey? 384, so maybe you'll need 2 for a Blissey. Hyper potions are great. Hang on to them. Max potions. Now these ones are, they will heal you up from very, very low. Like you can see it right there on the screen. A spray type medicine that completely restores all HP of a single Pokemon. Even if it's on 1 hit point, use a max potion and it will be completely healed. Very useful if you need to heal stuff up in the middle of a raid. But we also have a better item for that, assuming you have any, and I'll get to that in a minute. Next up, Revives, a medicine that can revive fainted Pokemon. It also restores half of a fainted Pokemon's maximum HP. So these are great. Also, not that common. Like if you're doing a lot of raids or you're doing a lot of battles, you're probably going to need to heal at least 6 Pokemon after every fight. So you will churn through these very quickly. Hang on to them. Mostly you get them from doing raid rewards, you can get them from Pokestops, or I think there's a higher drop rate from gyms. But they're definitely not common enough that you can keep throwing them away. So it revives, easy enough. Boop. And he is on half health. And now we can go back to our potions and go, hey, I don't need these super potions. Don't need these either. Let's use all of them. And if I'm lucky, my golem will be healed. Not quite. You can double check if you think there's like a couple of points left by just going out and coming back into the potion, and yes, they are still there, therefore they need healing. But moving on, we have the Max Revive. Now this one is great if your Pokemon don't quite last a full raid. You can either have 2 teams, and I strongly suggest you do have a separate battle team, a second battle team rather, or come out of the fight, quickly Max Revive all your dudes back up, and jump straight back in. Next up we have the Lucky Egg. So this doubles the amount of XP you get for every action for 30 minutes. So there are 2 good ways to use this. The first one is mass evolutions. Catch loads of Pokemon that only need 12 candy to evolve, so things like Pidgey, Caterpie, and so on. Sit down for half an hour on your sofa, get comfy, put on Netflix or whatever, and just evolve with your Lucky Egg on. Normally you get 500 XP for getting a new evolution. This will mean 1000 XP per Pokemon. The second way is to do raids. Specifically, if you're lucky, there'll be multiple legendary raids on at similar times. So if you pop a Lucky Egg before the first one, instead of getting the usual 10,000 XP per legendary raid, you'll get 20. Fantastic. The lower tier raids, you get 3,000 for a tier 1, 3,500 for a tier 2, 4,000 for a tier 3, and 5,000 for a tier 4 raid, so could still be useful, but you're probably better off saving your Lucky Eggs for mass evolutions. which, yes, are boring, but it's a good way to level up. Other good times to use them are days like community days when you're catching loads. Maybe you've put down a lure on a few stops and you know you're just going to be catching continuously. Or occasionally Niantic puts on events where you get double or triple XP for doing things. Definitely use lucky eggs then. Next up we have incense. Now incense is an interesting one. As it says in the text, incense with a mysterious fragrance that lures wild Pokemon to your location for 30 minutes. But Pokemon Go is about walking around and getting exercise. So, sitting in one place, popping an incense, and hoping Pokemon will come to your living room. Yes, incense does that, but if you stay in the same place, you only get a Pokemon once every 5 minutes. If you walk around, however, you should get a Pokemon every minute as long as you have moved 200 meters from your last location. So you would have to be running pretty fast or on a bike to actually travel 200 meters every minute and catch Pokemon. So you probably won't get one every minute, but as long as you're walking around, you should get a decent number of Pokemon. So again, do it on community days when you're walking between stops or walking around a park. The other thing to note here is that Pokemon Go is interesting about the way it checks distance. It doesn't actually track your footsteps, it doesn't track corners, it doesn't track your actual location every time. What it does is poll your location every minute and then draw a straight line from A to B and say that's your distance walked. So that's why if you use something like a Fitbit and you compare that to your eggs walked in Pokemon Go, up in here you can see the distance where you've been walking. That will probably not track, because something like a Fitbit or even Google Fit that maps where you've been, they are measuring in completely different ways. So ideally, if you want to maximize incense, get on your bike, ride down a really long road, wait until something pops at the end of the road, and then turn around and ride back. In practice, obviously, that is kind of tricky, so you may as well just use it when you're walking up and down the high street. Both lucky eggs and incense are quite rare. You can get them as level rewards when you level up. You get your first one at level 9, you get some at level 10, and then you don't get one till 15. But you can just buy them in the shop. So these cost real money, which is why you want to make sure you are maximizing their use. Fast TMs and charge TMs. Now these you only get from raids, and these are quite good rewards. They're quite rare, quite rare. The higher tier raid you get, and the more damage you do, the more likely you are to get one. And these are the way you can change movesets on your Pokemon. So let's take a look at Kyogre as an example. Kyogre is a water Pokemon. And as you can see, this guy has Waterfall and Hydro Pump. Both water moves, which means that they get a same type attack bonus. They actually do a little bit extra damage because the moves have the same type as the Pokemon. Now you can see here, Hydro Pump has 130 power. Over here, this Kyogre has Thunder. That's not the same type as Kyogre, and it only does 100 damage, so it is in no way as effective as having Hydro Pump. So, depending on what you're attacking, and maybe if you're attacking something vulnerable to Thunder, you might want to leave it, but if you're attacking something vulnerable to Water, you can use a Charge TM, and if you are lucky, then your Kyogre will get the move you want. Because the other thing is, Kyogre has 3 charge moves. So he could get Hydro Pump, or he could get Blizzard. He definitely won't get Thunder again. It is random and it'll swap between those two, so it might take you more than 1 TM to get the moves you want. Fingers crossed. Yes, Hydro Pump. There we go. It is a gamble, but if you look at the move types and you have a pretty good idea what you're going to attack, it is worth using them. Rare Candy. Now I talked about this in the video where I covered berries and evolution items. Technically not a berry, but you feed it to a Pokemon, so throw it in there. What next? What next? Raid passes. So I've covered raid passes in the video on raids, and I think I might have covered them in my video on how to, like, the basics of how to play the game. Star pieces. Now these are basically the Stardust equivalent of lucky eggs. You get 50% more Stardust, so it's not double, it's 50% more Stardust for 30 minutes. So if you normally get 100 Stardust for catching a Pokemon, run one of these and you get 150 instead. Great. It also stacks with event bonuses, so if an event happens to be running where you get 300 for a catch instead of 100, you'll get 450. And with the weather boost as well, you can get a slightly bit more. So definitely save those 4 times when you're catching loads, and hopefully when there's events on as well. Star pieces you can't routinely buy in the shop. They're not a standard item, but you will get them in bundles, so in the special boxes. Keep going further down and we have the Pokeballs! Hooray! These are your bread and butter. Without these, you cannot catch. So, normal Pokeball. It's red. It's fine. Spin the ball and throw it. You might catch a Pokemon. Probably not. I mean, you might. Depends on what it is. Great Ball. Higher chance of catching. Great Balls unlock at level 12. Ultra Balls, even better rate of catching. They unlock at level 20. You know how I said potions are, if you're running out of bag space, potions are the first thing you throw away. Second thing you throw away, probably super potions. Third thing you throw away, red Pokeballs. Just get rid of them. I know I just said you need them for catching, but when bag space is at a premium, it is better to have space that might be a Great Ball or an Ultra Ball instead of a giant pile of reds. Further down we have the lure modules. Now these are used at Pokestops. You may have seen, if you go into a stop, there's a little white ovoid thing. There's a little white thing at the top. Sometimes there's a little pink thing with a name in it. That means that someone else has lured the stop, and you know a stop's lured because you'll see like little pink hearts floating around it. So lure modules, you get your first one at level 8, or you can just buy them in the shop. And again, they come in the special boxes, so look out for deals on those. They will last for 30 minutes, unless there's a special event, and sometimes when there are special events, they will last for 3 to 6 hours, which is great. Personally, I don't usually use them unless I'm sitting somewhere that has 3 Pokestops within reach. Because yes, they will lure Pokemon, but there's still a big gap between them. And sometimes the lured Pokemon do not last very long. So they could be there for like 30 seconds and poof, disappear. So you really want to use them somewhere that you can sit there and properly focus on the game. I mean, yeah, you know, I'm not going to judge you if you're bored and you lure a stop, go right ahead, do what you want. But if you're trying to maximize stuff, at least 3 stops will keep you very busy. All these berries I covered in the previous video. The camera is, I don't even know why that's there. I think it's for immersion. Yes, you totally definitely have a camera. Egg Incubators, this is your free one, this yellow one here. You can incubate 1 egg at a time using this and it never breaks. You can buy blue incubators, and those you can use 3 times to incubate an egg before it breaks. And then you have super incubators, which is this purple one here. Those are really good because they cut down the distance you need to walk to hatch your egg by 1/3. So if I go back into my eggs, you can see that one in the top left is the yellow incubator. That's my free one. So I need to walk 5 kilometers. It's a 5-kilometer egg, which you can see because the spots on the egg are yellow. So I need to walk the full 5 kilometers to hatch it. Or again, in Pokemon Go terms, probably more like 6 or 7. The one in the middle, that's a purple egg, and that is actually a 10k egg. So using a normal incubator, whether it's the blue or the orange one, I'd have to walk 10 kilometers plus Pokemon Go bonus. Using the special incubator, I only need to walk 6.7. Amazing. It's not that it reduces it by 3, it's that it reduces it by 1/3. So you put your 2k egg in there, you're only going to save yourself 600 meters. Don't waste them on those. And once again, the purple incubators can only be bought in special boxes. You can, however, buy the blue ones all the time. Carrying on down the list, we have just the evolution items. Now, I talked about these as well in the berries video. The one thing I will say is that I have quite a lot of these, actually. You don't need that many. So again, if you're looking for bag space, I would probably only keep 2 or 3 of each of these, because most of them are only used on 1 or 2 Pokemon, and they're usually used on the higher level evolutions. It'll be things like Kingdra, so things that need 100 candy. You're not going to be doing that often. And that is it for the items you will find in your Pokebag. I hope that helps. I hope you now feel more comfortable about what to throw away when you need bag space. And obviously, you can always just buy more bag space in the shop if you don't think you have enough. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe or hit like, maybe do both. I will see you guys next week for yet another video. Thank you all. Good night. I mean goodbye, because it might be morning. I don't know. Bye.